Hello? Hello?
Hello, Jameel.
Hi, Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen to me. Just listen.
Okay.
The PayPal company is not processing that the thing because they said when you put it in as paying for a service, they hold it. They have to hold it and cannot do that, and so it's going to have to wait 24 to 48 hours. If if it had been sent just as a donation, then it goes through immediately. But if it's sent through saying that it's paying for a service, then they won't let it go through. They hold it for 24 to 48 hours.
Can we cancel it? Is there a way
Yeah.
we can cancel it right now and then
Yeah,
resend
cancel it and just resend it as a donation.
Okay.
Don't say that you're paying for a service, because then they're going to have to hold it for a couple 3 days.
I see. I've never done any of this before, so I wasn't sure how to do it.
That's okay. That's okay. No problem. I'm just telling you. So cancel the whole thing and then just resend it as a donation. That's all.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna do that right now.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Please try again.
Hello.
Yeah, it's me again, Jamal.
Yeah, Jameel. Did you get the second one?
No. Did you send a second one?
Yeah, I sent a second one under
Oh.
goods and services. I thought they wouldn't let me cancel the first one because it said it was completed, that it was already sent, and it went to you.
Yeah, I understand.
So
yeah.
So if you have the computer by you, or you have I don't know how you're doing. If you check and see, I sent the second one as a goods or service, like to a friend or family.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Then I'll tell you what I'll do is when I get the first one, they'll probably release it in a couple of days. I'll just reject it, and it'll just send it back to you rejected.
Okay, or we can figure something else out too, and maybe do something else too.
Well, whatever. Yeah. All right, whatever. Let's see. It's 7:19 right now. What is it? 10:20 your time?
Yeah, in Michigan. Yeah, right here.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, yeah, and I'll talk with you, more than one time too. If we don't finish it tonight, well, we could talk tomorrow too again, because now that I got your phone number.
Yeah. Well.
Okay.
Could you talk some now then? Can you?
Sure. I'll talk with you now for a little bit, and then we can also talk tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
And maybe even Monday too, if you want to talk some more.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, I went. I went to try to find you. We used to talk a few years ago. We talked a few times, and I'm sure you probably don't remember because, you get a lot of calls from a lot of people.
Yeah.
Right, but I went to go. It was I was staying at the Tarzana Inn, and
okay.
There was is your place above a Chinese place?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I went.
Well, there's a.
I went there, and there was this white guy with blonde hair, and he had a British accent. And there was this other big guy, man, he was huge, and they were like kind of stopping me from trying to get up there. And they looked like they were selling drugs or something.
Was that at an office?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like an office place above a Chinese restaurant.
I'm trying to think of where that was.
It was on the main road down the street from the Tarzana Inn.
I'm just trying to think about where was that and what was it? I don't remember.
It was
trying to think of where
it was like on an old. I got the address of an old piece of paper that we had mailed back and forth to each other like a couple of years before that. And so it wasn't like an up-to-date, accurate thing where we had talked. I was just like, wow, Jordan's around here. And so I thought, man, maybe if Jordan, maybe he might do an interview out to eat or something,
Yeah.
But it was kind of.
Yeah.
It was kind of.
I don't remember a Chinese restaurant.
All right.
Maybe I will later. I don't remember one right now, and being above it.
Yeah.
I know that there was a dentist office beneath me when I was in my office on Ventura Boulevard. It was a dentist office.
Maybe they changed. Maybe they changed. This was last winter. I don't know. Or maybe I had the wrong building. You know.
Yeah, maybe so, because did you ever get to see me? Did you actually meet me?
No, in person, no. I had called you like a few times. I did a session with you one time from your old website, and it was a session. It was a session. You were charging $250 then, and I sent a money order to you. And that's when you were telling me you were going through like some situation with these guys with your website.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I didn't think that was too cool of whatever they did to you. I heid about that. I didn't think that was pretty.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm still fighting them in court. They stole everything. Yeah, everything.
Did the guy have a ponytail? He had like a blonde ponytail or something?
Yeah, that's right. He has a ponytail.
Yeah, I took one look at him on the internet, YouTube, and I could tell by looking at him that he looked kind of scandalous. Like,
yeah, he's just a real scumbag.
Yeah, he looks like the scandalous type that makes you think.
Yeah, that's him.
He looks like, you know, like kind of like a wealthy type of guy, but in reality he's scandalous, you know.
Yeah, that's him. He's just a scumbag, lying thief, you know. But I had to learn the hard way. But I've been scammed by so many people.
Yeah, well, Jordan, I've always considered you, like they say, the godfather of the research. You know, the.
Well, I've been doing it for 54 years before all the rest of the guys out there were even born.
Yeah, I always bring. You know, I went and did a channeling session with you know who Daryl Anka is, with that Bashar and all that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I went and did a channeling session, and you know, I was like, yeah, a friend of mine, Jordan, he was saying how there was a UFO in Hollywood back in the 50s, and I was talking to this guy about UFOs through the channeling session, and. You know, I talked to Wendy Kennedy. She channels too. I talked to her. I did a channeling session with her not that long ago, and I always make a point to, when I talk about the alternative research stuff, to, you know, I always say Jordan Maxwell, you know, he brought David Icke to America. He put Stitching on with the shows and stuff that was supposed to come out, you know, the television shows. And so I always make a point to stress that you're one of the main people, even though you're not on TV, you're not a sellout like a lot of people end up selling out. You know, they get
That's right. That's right.
And I always make.
I've been offered all kinds of contracts to do television, to do 2 motion pictures, to all kinds of stuff. I've been offered in Hollywood. Why? Because I've been doing this for 54 years. Before all the people that are speaking today, they weren't even born. I was doing it.
They weren't even thought of.
Yeah.
That's right. They didn't even exist.
That's it. And so, but I've never been interested to do any of that crap. I'm not interested in Hollywood. I'm not interested in movies or TV or celebrity stuff. I'm not interested in any of it. I just do what I do. And so I've turned down all kinds of opportunities, turned them down. I'm not interested.
That's why I was so excited to talk to you, because I said, you know, money is no object to talk to George Maxwell. George Maxwell, you know, you go to somebody else like that David Icke guy or somebody else, I mean, you got to pay. They act like they're Jesus or something. Like, you got to roll out a red carpet just to talk to them. And
yeah, he gets $15,000 to $20,000 per lecture.
Isn't
when
that
he
crazy?
goes out and speaks at. Now he gets $20,000 per lecture. I know, because I know the people who set the lectures up, and I ask them, how much are you having to pay him? They're paying him $20,000. And I said, how much did you pay me when I did the lectures for you? How much did they pay me? And he said, I don't think we paid you anything. I said, that's right. You certainly didn't. I didn't ask for anything, and I didn't get anything. But I do my lectures for free. And I'm the one that started the whole thing, you know, before David Icke was born. And he gets $20,000, and I get $0.
I always like with that one guy, I forget his name. I think his name is Bruce Springs, Springer or something. Where he ended up going to prison.
Oh yeah. Springmeyer.
Yeah, didn't he go to the penitentiary?
What's his name?
he went to the penitentiary, but he had stolen a lot of your stuff through some woman and put it in a book or something like that.
Oh yeah. That's right. He stole it through his girlfriend. Came to me.
Yeah, I
knew it. See, and I knew his girlfriend. I didn't know him, but I knew her real well.
Mhm.
And so she wanted to borrow. She wanted to make copies of all of my work. So I let her. But that's many years ago. And she made all kinds of photocopies of all of my work over a 2-day period. She stayed with me for 2 full days in my office and photocopied all my documents, all my stuff, pictures, and all the research I was doing. And then about a year later, the book comes out.
Yeah.
And I was amazed because people who know me and they know Fritz Springmeier, they call me. My friends call me and said, "Did you know Fritz Springmeier has come out with a book with all of your information?" I said, "What are you talking about?" They said, "Yeah, it's here it is." And they said his girlfriend, Gloria Muscarella. And I said, "Yeah, Gloria came to my office and spent 2 days photocopying all my stuff, but I thought she wanted it for herself." And he said, No. Gloria was his girlfriend, and she was getting it for him."
Yeah,
so he got it. Yeah.
They're too lazy. What it is I think a lot of these people are too lazy, and they don't have the intelligence that you have to go out and get this on their own. So they see you and they say, "Wow, this is an opportunity. This guy got all this information. We can take this and make a book and make some money." You know.
Right, and the mere fact that he's an old guy, he's not interested in making money. He's not interested in the money. He's doing it for the to put the information out. And so he's old and stupid and dim-witted. So why don't we just rip him off and take it all and put it out there and make a lot of money off of him? And and fuck him. Let him starve. We'll be big stars, and we'll write books, and we'll be on television and do radio shows, and we'll be big stars, and we'll rip this guy off, and he's not going to do anything. So I've been ripped off over the years, and everybody knows it. Over the years, many people have come in, took my stuff, took all my videos, took my research, and went out and made money off of it, and published books and did television shows.
Jordan, people know you though that don't know people like, because I've talked to people like Professor Griff, the black guy, the rapper.
I know.
He knows of you. That big guy. He wrote a bunch of books. He used to be a big gang member in South Central. He wrote his name is Cody Scott. He wrote that book, Autobiography of the L.A. Gang Member. I was writing him when he was in prison. He knew of your work. There's a lot of people. Kenneth Anger, you know who Kenneth Anger is?
I know the names, I think. Yeah.
He's big into the occult and the film world, and he was an associate. He was that Bobby Beausoleil, that member Bobby Beausoleil, the Manson family, used to stay with Kenneth. Kenneth was a film director. He was even affiliated with the Church of Satan and all that. And I saw him in Hollywood. Yeah. I was staying at the Motel 6 on Whitley and Hollywood Boulevard. And this was after I left Tarzana, I came into Hollywood. I was staying in Hollywood for a week at the Motel 6 there. And I was walking to this little corner diner, and I saw Kenneth Anger. And I'm like, "Kenneth?" And he said, "Yeah." And I got to talking to him, and I said, "Yeah, I research into secret societies." And, I said, "Have you heard of Jordan Maxwell?" He said, "Yeah, I've heard of Jordan Maxwell." And we were talking. And, people know about you, Jordan.
Well,
a lot more people know about your work than is told,
Well, probably so. Because see, I live in the world that a 74-year-old man lives in. I'm not out there with the young people. I don't know what's happening out on the street. I don't know who knows what out there. Right. I just do what I do. I live in one room by myself, and just do what I do day in and day out, and putting information out there. I do radio talk shows, and that's about it. But I've done a lot over the years. I've been on television. I've done all the major networks. I've been on television. I've done History Channel, Discovery Channel, NBC, ABC. I've done CBS television specials. But I'm not really interested in the money. I'm not interested in making the money. I'm just happy being an old man, living by myself and doing what I like to do. Just like information, knowledge, wisdom, and putting it out there for free. And so I've been doing it all my life, and a lot of people, and I know lots of people in Hollywood. There's at least 12 different rap groups, big ones like Wu-Tang and Run DMC and KRS-One and Judas Priest and a lot of other that have all used my voice on their records. Wu-Tang did a whole song on me.
Yeah, I remember you put some links up on your website a few years ago, and like one of them was Ice-T and a bunch of other people.
Yeah, Ice-T. Yeah. I did two rap. I did a rap song with Ice-T, and I also did two music videos with Ice-T.
Yeah, that's you know what you have taken like the research thing. I can't even put a label on it, but whatever this stuff is, you have taken it and taken it to areas that no other person has done before.
What was his name? Prince. Remember Prince?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Prince threw a big party for me down in Los Angeles at his nightclub in L.A. It was called Grand Slam, and that was Prince's nightclub, Grand Slam, and he had a big party for all the gang members. There was a Mexican gang, black gangs, white, everybody. All the gangs were there. And it was Jordan Maxwell, and my name was up on the marquee. It was a big thing, and there was traffic everywhere.
Oh my!
And there were hundreds of people there. It was a big, huge Jordan Maxwell night at Prince's nightclub called Grand Slam, and all the different gangs were showing up. And I talked to Ice-T and Ice Cube and those guys, and I said, I don't know if I want to even be down that damn place. All these gangs, and it sounds dangerous to me. And Ice-T said, no, everybody has agreed there will be no violence and no shit, no fucking around. Nobody's going to mess around at all because it's you. So out of honor for you, everybody has agreed tonight. Nobody messes with nobody. We're here to honor you. And so I got there. I couldn't believe it. All the different gang members were there. I mean, all the big shots, with their limos and their women. They were all there with their rings, the diamond rings, and it was a big to do. And they're all coming in and shaking my hand and thanking me for what I've been doing and all that. And I was thinking to myself, my God, if people could see me back home in Florida, see me out here with all these gangs and shit. Yeah. Damn.
You were the Godfather. You were the Godfather that night for real, huh?
That's it. That night it was for real, and it was my night, and when they were coming in, everybody was supposed to come over, shake my hand, and thank me. And I stood there at the door with Ice-T, Ice Cube, all these guys, and the different gang members would come in, the different gangs, and they were all very polite to me, very polite. They were very courteous, and thanked me for being there, and thanked me for all of the work I've been doing to help them educate themselves, et cetera, et cetera. So it was a hell of an, And then I got some offers to go to New York, DMC. To record with him and to so it was a fun night. Got a lot of strange stuff going on that night. So
that's one thing about you is you're not only known to like the you've done it in the universities. You're known high up. I mean, higher than levels than I can even imagine. I know your name's up there. But still, though, I've seen people out there like with the Moores, the Moores Science Temple and stuff. And
yeah, I know them all.
People who live in the projects on food stamps know who you are. I mean, you're known. You're Rotarian. Your research is. I mean, like you said, you showed up. They had a whole ball for you down there.
Yeah.
My God, that is something.
I got to tell you one experience. One guy comes in, one gang member. He's a gang member. No, he's a gang leader, and he pulls up in this white limo with his girlfriend, limo, and he gets out. And he's really decked out in all white, and he's a black guy. And he's decked out in all white, and he's with his girlfriend, and he comes in. But he comes in and he walks right past me. Walks past me because he sees Ice-T and some of the other guys there, so he's going to go talk to them. And Ice-T in Africa Islam looked at me and shook their head, and they walked over to this guy, and they said, do you know what you just did? And he said, who are you talking to? They said, we're talking to you, fucker. That's who we're talking to. And he said, what are you talking about? He said, do you know the man that was standing at the front door? Yeah, that's the man that is the man tonight. And you just walked right past him and didn't even say hello. And he said, why should I? And Ice-T said, because I say so. That's why you should. So and all the other gang members, all the other gang leaders, the black ones and the Mexicans and white, they all told this guy, go back and pay some respect, son. You better go back.
Yeah.
And so he realized he's way out-leagued here. He just won. There's about 10 others that are telling him, you better go back and make it right.
There might
so
be more
he came back over and apologized. Came back over and apologized and shook my hand and apologized. And I said, I have no hard feelings. I understand. So I've just had a lot of interesting experiences in my life.
And Jordan, you've been in L.A. now. If I'm correct, you left Florida about 18, right?
Yeah, 18, and I ended up here in Los Angeles in 1959, in early January of 59. So I just turned 19 years old when I hit L.A. Yeah.
What did you think?
And I hit L.A. I got into Los Angeles about 10 o'clock at night, and I had $9 in my pocket. That's all I had in the world was $9. I didn't know anybody. I didn't even know where the shit I was.
Mm-hmm.
I just knew I was in L.A., but that's as far as I could go. There's an ocean past that. So I knew I was in Los Angeles, and I was at night, about 10 o'clock at night, and I had $9 in my pocket, period. I had no place to go. I didn't know anybody. I had no idea what I was doing. And I ended up sleeping in,
a serious situation.
But I lived through it because I'm 19 years old, and I learned quick. But I had a lot of protection, though. I had a lot of spiritual protection I didn't even know I was getting at the time.
Yeah, I've recognized, I felt that myself. I've had some situations where I've come close to death, and some serious things have happened to me, and I know there has to be something there that's kept me from, getting the worst end of it. Jordan, so what about this Jimmy Jones guy, the Jim Jones? You were in L.A. when he was around there, weren't you?
Oh, sure, absolutely. Yeah, I know all about Jim Jones. See, Jim Jones was part of, it's a big story. We have to go back and start, and we can continue this conversation, tomorrow, the next day, next week, because there's so much to tell you, so much. But what you first have to understand first is go back to square one. The Democratic Party in America, the Democratic Party as far back as 1930s, back in 1930s, we're talking, 80 years ago, 90 years ago, whatever it is, was taken over by the left wing or the communist movement. So that today, the Democratic Party is a Soviet communist operation, Marxist-Leninist communist organization, while the Republican Party is 95%, not complete, like the Democratic Party is 100% Marxist-Leninist Soviet communist.
Right.
Period. Yeah. But the Republican Party is about 95% Nazi.
Yeah.
SS, Gestapo, Adolf Hitler, Nazi.
Vatican rat line type of.
That's it. Vatican rat line, white folks with big money, financing Adolf Hitler and all that crap. So the Republicans are Nazis, and 95% of Republicans are Nazis, and 100% of the Democratic Party are pure Soviet communists.
George,
so once you understand that, then you begin to see how all of these cults that was started by the Marxist-Leninist movement in America and in Europe, so many of these different churches and organizations like the NAACP and CORE and some of the black organizations, and then the white movements, or white resistance movements, and all of that. These were all started by the Soviet Marxist-Leninist communists to divide the people, divide and conquer. So, like the Bible says, no house divided against itself can stand. So the best way and the way I explain it is that if I were in Africa as a white guy, and I'm in Africa, and I get thrown into a jail in Nairobi, Kenya, and there's all blacks in there except me, the smart thing to do is what the British would do, what the English did when they were in Africa. You start trouble between all the other people in the prison.
Right.
You go to this one black guy and tell him, you know what this guy said about your mama?
Yeah.
And and then the other guy said, you know what this guy said about you? And then before you know it, you got all the black guys fighting each other, right?
Right.
Which is good. That way they leave me alone. They go out there and kill each other.
Yeah.
Right?
Smart move.
And so that's what's been going on, is that England is always starting all the problems, all the cults and all of these different secret societies. And Jim Jones was working for the Marxist-Leninists and the Communist Order, but he was also very clever, getting support from both sides. Both sides thought they could use him. And so Jim Jones's People's Temple, when I heard his church was called the People's Temple, I knew immediately this guy is going to be connected to Jimmy Carter and Rosalind Carter and all of these Soviet Marxist-Leninist, left-wing communist assholes.
Brzezinski?
The people, Brzezinski, exactly. Because
Robert Pastor.
The very word, that's it. The very word People's Party, the People's Paper, the People's this. The very word peoples is a term used by the Communist Party. And so that's why you will find all of the communist countries of the world. Here's something you need to keep in mind. All the communist countries in the world, from Cuba, China, North Korea, and all the other communist countries that used to be, all of them are officially referred to as People's Republic, People's Democratic Republic.
George,
you have the People's Democratic Republic of China, the People's Democratic Republic of Cuba, the People's Democratic Republic of North Korea. Every country is communist is called the People's Democratic Republic.
You even see
that. So that's where we get the.
Even in the street
Say
gangs,
it again?
Even in the street gangs, you see that in Chicago. One street gang where they wear their hat to the left, they have an organization where all these street gangs are called the People's Nation, and then
that's it.
Then Then the other side of the street gangs, the Folk Nation, they all wear like a pitchfork, and it's they use the 6-point Saturnian type of star. And
yep.
You got like the right. They're kind of like. Kind of like a Saturnian Nazi type of thing. Then the other side is the people's. It's like a communist and a Nazi type of thing.
That's right.
Right in the street gang. Right in the.
That's exactly right.
And
that's exactly right.
There's so much Masonic. When you read the graffiti, I was in Chicago one time when I was younger, and I didn't realize until now how much Masonic symbolism is in the graffiti.
Yeah, well, let me tell you something. I went to many years ago, back in early '80s. My friends, all my friends here that are in the Moors, they called me, and I used to go out to their house. I used to go to their parties, their meetings, and I give lectures at the Moors about maritime admiralty law, et cetera, Well, they called me one night and said that there's going to be a doctor who works at the Martin Luther King Hospital in L.A. is giving a private lecture to the Moors tonight, and they wanted me to be there. So I went. It was in Santa Monica. And his whole lecture, this is a black doctor from Martin Luther King Hospital, and his whole lecture was about the graffiti of the gangs and what these symbols mean in occult Freemasonry. And he was explaining how the different gangs, like the Mexican gangs, use a lot of the York Rite symbolism, while the black gangs use a lot of the Scottish Rite symbolism. And he went on for about 2.5, 3 hours explaining the symbolism that the gangs use coming from occult Freemasonry. I remember that a long time ago.
Yeah.
And so I know that this kind of stuff has been going on, and that's where the gangs are getting their guns and their money.
Yeah, the drugs.
And the bottom line is that the guys who are in power, they don't give shit if you're in communist or Nazi or a fascist. They don't give a shit about none of it because they run the whole show anyway. They can kill you no matter who you are.
Right.
So what they want, it's true.
Yeah.
It's like Al Capone. He don't care if you are or with the Roger Tui's gang or with the so-and-so's gang. He don't give a shit. He'll kill you himself. He don't care who you are with.
Right.
So this is what the guys who run this planet, they don't care about the different groups, and they're not on one side or the other. They want all the young people.
Yeah, they created them anyway.
That's right. They created them for you. And then, in case you're so fucking stupid that you don't get involved, they will make movies for you so that you can watch Blood In and Blood Out and watch all the gang movies. So that'll give you an idea. What you need to do is go out and join one of the gangs. So Hollywood makes the movies so they can get you involved in the idea of joining a gang. Because maybe you're so damn stupid you didn't even think about joining a gang. Well, they make movies about it. Yeah, this way. Yeah, make the movies about it and show you this is what you kids need to do is join the gang.
Yeah.
And they make a movie Fast and Furious and Blood In and Blood Out and all that silly ass bullshit. And I know all the guys who worked in the movies.
Good old
I know that's what they're doing.
Yeah, psychological warfare.
That's it. And so the bottom line is that they get all of the youth fighting each other. Keep all the different groups fighting each other, and that way the British can go in and make the money. They'll sell the guns. And they'll buy and sell your body and throw you into prison and use your body as a security on the stock exchange. There's a whole world going on out there that people don't know nothing about at all.
Jordan, I noticed. Okay, I've been with this research for this Jim Jones. I got a whole thing on the internet where I'm showing people that Jim Jones has so many look-alike body doubles.
I know.
The ears, Jordan, I show this to people on the internet how on the NBC footage, they actually switched body doubles right in the footage while the congressman was down there. Nobody even noticed. The ear,
all these leaders have body doubles, all of them.
I think the real man escaped because if you look at there's two different photographs of two different Jim Joneses. There's one outside the little cottage pavilion. Then there's another one inside some cottage somewhere. It's two separate men, and one of them looks like he got like a mask on, like how the CIA during the Cold War wore those fake bodysuits and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
When the congressman was down there, you can look in the pavilion. Some of those old black women really weren't old black women. Those were like bodysuits.
I wouldn't be a bit surprised. That's exactly right. That whole thing. That whole Jim Jones going down to Guyana, that whole Jim Jones thing was a CIA operation.
And
the
Nazis,
CIA paid for it, or organized it,
The Nazis were down there waiting for them.
That's exactly right.
I was.
That's what they were.
You'd be surprised. I was sitting there watching the footage, and I was shocked. I said, in 1978, what the hell is a 50-something-year-old man, German man, doing in the middle of a communist rally?
That's right.
In Guyana, what the hell is a ex-Nazi sitting in the middle of a communist rally with Jim Jones and them. I could tell. It's like I find the British intelligence. I find them down there. Frank,
yep.
Frank,
right.
You remember Frank Turple?
Yeah, I remember the name. Yeah.
He was that deep cover CIA agent that was selling guns to terrorist groups, and he got busted, and he had to flee the country.
Yep.
Yeah, he indicated something about like how the Green Berets are. There was a contingency plan. They assassinated the congressman at the airport. Then they did this. They threw the suicides, but also there was a contingency plan. So whoever didn't drink the poison, that's okay, because we got some assassins coming in to get you anyway.
No, of course, yeah. You don't have to drink. You don't have to drink that. You're gonna be dead anyway.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, because when you see the photographs, everybody's face down. You don't see one face picture. They're all like they have been dragged. Like their bodies look like they tried to run, and somebody caught them and shot them or strangled them something and brought them back there and just dumped them there.
Yeah.
And
I wouldn't be a bit surprised. That's the kind of thing. And remember, one of Jim Jones's ardent admirers and promoters was Jimmy Carter and his wife.
Yeah.
Jimmy Carter, and especially his wife.
Rosalie.
She was always down there to be on the street with Jim Jones in the People's Temple, the People's Revolutionary Temple.
Mm-hmm.
It's purely Marxist-Leninism. Well, today, the Democratic Party is pure Marxist-Leninism.
Yeah,
it was getting that way. It was almost there when Jim Jones was in. Now it's finally totally Marxist-Leninist, communist, Soviet operation going on, and we call it the Democratic Party. And again, remember that. Go look it up. All the different communist countries are. Cuba is called the Democratic Republic of Cuba. China is the Democratic Republic of China, the People's Democratic Republic of Cuba, the People's Democratic Republic of this, the People's Democratic Republic.
Right.
Everywhere it's communist is always called the People's Democratic Republic.
Yeah, I know in Germany they use that in Germany and Europe when they talk about being a Democrat and stuff on the left, they write out, show pictures of Trotsky and Lenin and
of course,
and they don't even try to hide it.
Nope, they don't even need to. They're so damn powerful now and got all the money. They don't even need to hide it.
They can't. I was reading about how Trotsky was a gangster from New York City, and like.
Well, so was Marx and Engels. Marx and Engels worked for the New York Tribune newspaper. They were both newspaper reporters. Both Karl Marx and V.I. Lenin worked for the New York newspaper.
And then
they worked for the New York newspaper.
And didn't the money come from Wall Street anyway? To
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
it comes from Wall Street.
Yeah, it's same thing with the Nazis. And they're the rocket.
That's why. Yeah, that author, what's his name? The author who wrote, God, he's the best of the best on that subject. And he's got about 20 different books out there on that subject. What's his name? He's done all these books on financing the Nazis, financing how Wall Street financed Hitler.
I think I read those. Yeah, you had him on you had him on your site a few years ago under PDF. Where people could look on it and read it. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Anthony Sutton. Well, you need to go on the web and go on the web to YouTube and type in Anthony Sutton, Sutton, Anthony Sutton, and listen to his discussion. Listen to him because he tells you who was financing who, where the money came from. How the Democratic Congress today and the Democrats in Washington are communists, Soviet Marxist Leninist communists, and the Republicans are Nazis, and who's paying them, where the money is coming from.
Yeah,
it was very interesting. He was talking about how the Nordic companies such as BMW, Volkswagen, Mercedes, IKEA, names off all of these German Nordic corporations around the world, all today, even right now today, give 8 to 10% of their profits to the Nazi Party in Argentina today. Volkswagen gives 10% of everything that they make. All the different German BMW, they give 10% of their profits today, so that the Nazi Party in South America, especially Argentina, are rolling in money all over the world. They're getting money from all these German companies. From Germany itself is financing, sending money to them. So the German Nazi Party is very much alive, very well, and they were running NASA today. They run NASA. They're running the Republican Party. They're doing very well and making lots of money. And on the other hand, the Soviet communists are very well. They've got their guy in office now.
Jordan,
so little by little, the American people have no idea what's going on.
Jordan, that brings me to another question about the Nazis. I heard maybe even what happened down there in Guyana with Jim Jones. I mean, they wanted to take the congressman out anyway, and they had things they wanted to do anyway, but it was sort of like a twin operation because the Nazis were in competition with the Soviets down there, and the Nazis used this incident to because the U.S. had to come down there and clean it all up anyway. And so the Nazis did this possibly in order to get the U.S. to get their troops down there and all their helicopters down there during this time to knock the Soviet base out.
That sounds about right too.
Because these guys,
that's the kind of stuff that goes on.
This Jonestown stuff. I mean, I was studying it, and it looked like they were training sharpshooters at Jonestown to go fight in Angola, and because Lyndon B. Johnson had gave away the Atkins airfield down there in Guyana back in 1965. Now they call it Tamara Airport, but they said the Tamara Airport was like the largest airport. It was even bigger than the Kennedy Airport in New York, and the Nazis wanted that airport because the Soviets had it. Because the Burnham administration, they were Marxists in Guyana. And the Nazis,
that's right.
And the Nazis felt like all this Jim Jones and this Burnham and Marxists and Soviets, the Nazis were getting kind of disgruntled, and so the Nazis just said, "Hell with it, just kill all of them," And they wanted to get, and there was the Mark Lane guy, I found out he ain't.
I remember Mark Lane. Yeah.
He ain't nothing but a CIA agent anyway.
Of course he was.
Yeah, I thought, there was a place called Hilltown. Did you hear about that? By Jonestown?
Yeah, Hilltown. I remember that.
It was a black guy who killed Martin Luther King's mother, and the black guy that killed Martin Luther King's mother, he was a little weird, mind-controlled looking guy. He had a mentor named David Hill, and the government put David Hill from America down in Hilltown next to Jonestown. And it was a camp like Jonestown, just called Hilltown, and Mark Lane had something to do with both these. But Mark Lane, when he was representing James Earl Ray, the only witness that was saying it wasn't James Earl Ray that did it, he was trying to put her in Jonestown right before the suicides happened.
Yeah.
In Charles Gary, and it has something to do with Grenada, the hospital in Grenada. I think
that's exactly right.
I think there was some genetical stuff going on with Jones.
Yeah, that's exactly what was going on in Grenada.
Yeah,
there was a university down there that had I think it was 500 students, and I can't remember the numbers, but who talked a lot about that when it first happened. What was going on in Grenada was Dick Gregory. Dick Gregory was talking about Grenada and how there was all kinds of crossbreeding with animals and humans in Grenada.
Oh my!
And how the Cubans went into Grenada late at night and slipped in, and got through the security and found out what the Americans were doing down in Grenada with crossbreeding animals with humans and all that kind of shit with the Nazis. And that's why Ronald Reagan sent the Marines in and leveled that university, leveled it to the ground so there'd be no more evidence about what was going on.
Yeah,
that's
I heard
a lot of interesting stuff like that.
I think that's what in Jonestown, nobody ever got to get the remains of the bodies or anything, and I've always often skepticized that there were some weird genetic experiments going, and a lot of these people that they said came up missing. I mean, they said 900 and something people died down there in Jonestown. I don't believe that. I think a lot of these people were probably relocated, maybe to Grenada or something. There were genetic experiments.
Very possible.
Cloning, or
yep.
like mixing them with monkeys and stuff and reptiles.
Well, look at that. But look, as far back as 1938, shit, that's a long time ago, almost 80, 90 years, whatever it is. 1938, there was a movie came out with Charles Lawton called The Island of Lost Souls.
Oh, yeah, that was like the island. Yeah. Yeah.
And then later on, in 1965, Burt Lancaster remade the movie Island of Lost Souls and called it The Island of Dr. Moreau.
That's right. Yep.
And then the last movie that Marlon Brando made before he died, his very last movie, was called The Island of Dr. Moreau. Get the movie Island of Dr. Moreau. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what is that telling you? It's an island, and in the book, The Island of Dr. Moreau, it takes place in the Bahamas or in the West Indies, and that's where Grenada is. And so, that's what the story was all about. But hell, they knew all that shit back in 1938. They were making movies about it.
Yeah, they were working on the genetics. They had been talking about that.
Oh, that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jordan, I want to ask you this thing about this Jimmy Jones guy. I did a channeling session. There's this guy out there named Rob Goth or something, and he can channel entities. And I mean, this information comes through really good, Jordan. And I was explaining to him how many body doubles and stuff exist. And I'm to the point now, the information I've been getting, that the real Jimmy Jones got away.
I would be a bit surprised because that's exactly what I think happened with Hitler.
Yeah.
And all of these other people, I think they are always protected. And I don't buy for a minute that Osama bin Laden is dead. I don't buy that for a minute. I mean, they announced 3 different times under 3 different administrations that they had killed Osama bin Laden. 3 different administrations talked about how they had killed Osama bin Laden. People didn't pick up on that.
Same thing with Saddam Hussein.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then when you see the pictures of Saddam Hussein, about 5 different ones, and each one looks different. And supposedly Saddam Hussein, and each one looks different.
Jordan.
Yeah.
Do you remember the zebra murders in San Francisco?
I remember something about them, yeah.
Okay, it was supposed to be about these black guys that were coming out of prison, and they all came, the Charles Manson, and the zebra murders, and it seems to be something going on at the Vacaville prisons over there in California, where all these strange, deranged people were coming out of these prisons just mentally off, and causing as much chaos. I mean, some of these guys were on parole and they kept getting in trouble and they didn't get locked up. It's like the system purposely kept them out there to do this stuff, and these guys were committing, all these murders, and they all had the same psychiatrist.
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
that's right. But they were purposely being allowed to do it, purposely.
Yeah, and the Charles Manson guy, he kept saying something about the blacks were going to take over. The blacks were going to take over, and he kept saying something about the Black Panthers. But then when I think about it, he was talking more about the black Muslims, and that's exactly what happened. After he got arrested in '69, all these deranged black guys were coming out thinking, saying the white man was the devil and all this stuff, and they were randomly killing whites. And I'm thinking, but Charles Manson appeared to have the same sort of mind controllers that these men had. I'm thinking he had some inside information that this was going to happen.
No doubt about it.
Yep.
And Hollywood's involved in it up to the throat. Hollywood's involved in it.
Right.
Like Dick Gregory said, Hollywood does 3 things. They tell you what they've done, what they're doing now, and what they're getting ready to do.
Right, like the Zodiac Killer. I mean...
That's it. That's a big story in itself. That Zodiac killer, that's a real big story.
Yep. I don't think like the Zodiac murders. I don't think that was one man. I think that was definitely some sort of group. You know.
That's exactly right.
The police were I was reading about this, and you know the people who were calling in saying they did it. Most of the time, it was a phone booth right outside the police station, and and the dispatchers seemed to be involved with it because they kept giving wrong information about who to look for, the suspects, and
that's right.
It just seems like there's some over there in Presidio Heights, the weird military connection. These people like Michael Aquino and all these weird groups.
You got it. That's exactly right, boy. That's exactly what's going on.
They want
all kinds of really heavy-duty Marxist-Leninist stuff, as opposed to Nazi stuff. NASA is, for one thing, NASA is pure Nazi, but the CIA was founded by the Knights of Malta.
Yep, Vatican. That's Vatican right there.
Vatican right there. That's CIA, Vatican.
Yeah, well, the Jesuits. Jordan, I live in Muskegon. Yep. I'm from Muskegon, Michigan, and I'm aware that the woman Kathy O'Brien. I grew up down the street from the high school that she said the Jesuits mind controlled her at. You remember Kathy O'Brien?
No, I knew her. I knew her. I went and picked her up at the airport. Her and the guy with her. I went and picked them up at the airport a couple of times. Took them back down to the airport. Yeah, here in L.A.
Yeah,
I know them.
I read her book and I said this can't be true, and I went to go look, and sure enough, matter of fact, the same priest that she was saying did this to her, they're still in operation. Some of them are still working. They're still doing what they do.
It's an incredible story.
Yeah.
It's an incredible story about how jumbled up this stuff really is, how far gone it really is. The people in this country have no idea to what extent this crap is going on.
Jordan, you remember the Manson guy? They killed a family the next night, the Lino LaBianca family, and on the guy's stomach, they had they were trying to say it was cuts, but it looked like maybe the police did it with marker even, but it was two triangles going the opposite way, like a Masonic type of symbol. It was spelled out war. Mm-hmm. But it was Masonic, and it looked almost like it looked like the war, and the girl Leslie Van Houten of the Manson family, she was saying that she had cut this into the stomach, but I'm thinking about this. Maybe these people maybe didn't do this because several months went by before they got busted, and they were all out in the desert near a military base. Out in Death Valley, out in Ridgecrest and Inyokern, by that China Lake Naval Base, and I'm thinking maybe these people, this Manson crew and all this, maybe these people were meant to believe they did it, and somebody else did it.
Yeah, could be.
Because this guy, this Lino LaBianca guy, he was connected to the mob, and the Sharon Tate and all this stuff. It looked like some mafia, occult, witchcraft type stuff going on. And
no doubt about it. It's been going on for a long time, especially in Hollywood and up in the Hollywood Hills.
That's where Laurel Canyon.
Yep. That's it, Laurel Canyon.
I've been there before, and it's a beautiful place. But all the stuff that's happened there with the murders, the Wonderland murders, and
that's right.
Wasn't Nazism created there too? Wasn't it?
That's right. Nazism was created right up there on Mulholland. And Laurel Canyon Boulevard, Laurel Canyon, and Mulholland is where a bunch of really wealthy Nazis lived up there, and they were all getting together. This is before Adolf Hitler even came into power.
They even had a compound up there.
That's right. They had a compound up there, and the compound was inside of a mountain, not on the mountain. They were inside the mountain. You could drive by and see the mountain open up, and there was a big parking structure inside the mountain. You drive inside the mountain, and then the mountain would come back down and cover. So it was a fake.
Yeah. And I remember you telling that story about.
And that's where all the planning for Adolf Hitler was being planned up on Mulholland and Laurel Canyon.
And
here in Studio City.
and they were making movies about it. Charlie Chaplin made a movie called The Great Dictator or something like that.
That's right.
Way before Hitler even really was known to the world, they were already making movies about what was going to happen.
Yeah, and then you find out Charlie Chaplin was left-wing and pro-Marxist and pro-communist. So and Hollywood was making movies about these kind of things.
Yeah.
You know, you're just opening up a can of worms because the deeper you get, the bigger it gets, the deeper it gets. And I'm going to send you, within the next day or so, I'm going to outline and I'm going to send you the people to listen to that I have got about, I've got about 6 or 7 people that I think are sensational, that have got all kinds of really important stuff on what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That they've done a lot of really important research, and I'm going to send you their names and the links to go and listen to them on the web and listen to them, because I'm going to send you some really off-the-wall stuff that is going to blow your mind.
Yeah.
I know these people personally.
Jordan, I know it's getting late, and before we disconnect or whatever, I just want to say the story you told. I just got to tell you this about the reptilian type people.
Yeah.
You know, over the years, I always believed that they existed, but in the last couple of years, I had an encounter at a bank. I was going to the bank, and the woman working there, she was extremely slender. She had blonde hair. And for the last few years, I've been studying, you know, if you look on Google, sometimes you can catch them shapeshift, the reptilians.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I walked in the bank, I looked at her, and I knew immediately she wasn't human. What I was looking at is what she wanted me to see. She was, she had created some sort of, you know, I don't know if it's holographic or she's in a different dimension, and she's able to produce you know how whatever these creatures are, they can make us see what they want us to see.
No doubt about it. That's exactly right.
And listen, I was in the back room with her, and I said, "Hey, you ever heard of the lizard people?" And she looked at me, you know, she was like, "No, what's that?" And I told her about how, you know, there's lizard people living under Los Angeles, and I told her about how they were created, you know, by the Anunnaki and the sixth density ancient reptilians and the Anunnaki and all this stuff, you know, and you should have saw her face. It wasn't an emotional reaction. She wasn't emotionally reacting like a human, but it was some sort of weird. It was like the veil was being taken off her, like I was breaking through, like I was energetically breaking through what she was trying to make me see her as. Was, you know, the fakeness of it was starting to show, and she started to panic. And I pulled a crystal out of my pocket and set it on the table, and that really bothered her. And we were sitting there talking about it. And I said, yeah, you know, the lizard people and the reptilians and all this, and something happened, and after that, she completely left the bank. I went back there again, and they said, we don't know. She just left the bank. She switched. We don't know why she did it. I'm real good friends with somebody who works at the bank, and he said, we don't know why she left. She just one day, you know.
Well, you remember the ABC television network miniseries V?
Yeah. Yeah, I saw
remember that?
Yeah, I've seen the old one and the new one.
Yeah, I saw both too. I saw the old and the new one.
Yeah.
And the new one, the visitors, the aliens, are handing out pamphlets explaining to the people of the earth what they want, why they're here, what they want to do. And the name of the booklet, the name of the pamphlet in the TV show was called Dawn of a New Day.
That's what I've been learning that from you over the years about the dawning. If you just Google the word Dawn of a New Day, you get a million different things on it.
That's right. And I started talking about that back in 1967. I was doing radio shows talking about the dawn of a new day. Nobody ever heard of it. Nobody knew what I was talking about. 1968, 69, and 70, I was talking about it in the motion picture studios. I'd go to the different movie studios at night and give lectures on the sound stages.
Yeah,
I could get in. Yeah.
I think they got something going on out there in Death Valley. These the lizard people or whatever they are. I think, you know, I know for a fact they're real.
No doubt in my mind about it.
Yeah, I after that with that woman, I knew and this woman was so intelligent and sharp. She was razor sharp. You know, and I was telling her about astrotheology. She was like, "What are you going to do with your day?" And I started talking about astrotheology and the sun and all that stuff and religion and stuff, and she was picking up on it, but she was going along with it like she didn't know what I was talking about. But I could tell by looking at her, she knew exactly what I was talking about. And
of course.
And you know, these people, I mean, the human race doesn't realize these entities are here. You know.
Of course they are. They're all around us, but nobody sees it. Well, that's like the movie They Live. Remember?
Yeah, where he puts on the special glasses.
The movie They Live.
Yeah. Well,
and now, did you ever hear that interview I did? Go on the web to YouTube and type in Jordan, Maxwell, and Nancy.
Oh yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, about her.
You heard Nancy talk about the reptilians. Her father worked for the Air Force and all that.
It came out of the closet on her.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I've listened to so many of your interviews, Jordan, over the years. I mean, I know you've been doing a lot of them lately, but most of the main ones, I mean, from a year ago and back, I've just listened to all of them. You know. But
I'm just amazed that people even know of me. I just keep putting the stuff out there. I don't know where it's going. I just keep putting it out there and talking and doing the best I can.
No, I take all this stuff seriously. I mean, I know you don't like to get into the sovereign law stuff too much because, they really like to persecute people on that one. But
yeah, I know. And see, I was one of the very first people who started talking about that publicly.
With Vic, with that guy named Vic, right?
That's right.
Yeah,
exactly.
I did that stuff you guys are talking about. I did that in a courtroom, and it completely worked. I asked for permission to cross the gate. Then I said I'm appearing specially, not generally. Then I said I'm reserving all rights not to be bound by any unrevealed contracts. And the judge said something, and I said I said exceptions. Like exceptions means you're sure. And I mean they cleared the courtroom because I was tearing them up. I had been reading your guys. Even the judge was getting scared. He got up off the bench and left the courtroom. And then when he left the courtroom, I left too. I said, well, if he's not going to be here, what am I going to be here for? And I left, and the police were sitting there looking stupid, like they didn't even know what to make of it. I
love it.
Yeah. I put, a cop pulled me.
I knew it. I mean, I knew that stuff was important and all that, but now things have changed. That's why I don't fool with it. I tell everybody to stay away from it now.
Yeah, I'm the same way. If they pull me over and ask me, I just tell them what they need to hear. And if I really need it, I got it. But I try to.
Of course.
I try to play along.
That's what I've always said. Just at least know about it. At least you can know about it and understand it. Doesn't mean you have to use it, but at least you're not stupid. You know about it.
Yeah, I know all about
the main thing.
The maritime, the flag got the gold fringe. That's that.
Yeah, I know all of that. It's a big story.
It is, and it gets into humans being property, basically. Like we're property of whatever these entities.
Of course we are. We're chattel property. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. How old are you?
29.
Because I was going to say you're very well read and very intelligent. For guys in his 20s, because usually guys in their 20s out here in California, 29 years old, they're on skateboards with popsicles. They don't know their ass from a hole in the ground.
Yeah, I know that. I mean, if you look at a picture of what a man was supposed to look, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, in today's world, you don't become a man until you're like 40.
That's right, at least. And even then, you're fucked up and mentally disordered, man. But
yeah.
But before, when you were 15 years old, you were a grown man. 150 years ago. But today, you could be 29 years old. There's a lot of 29-year-olds out here on skateboards with kids going to roller rink and going to all little silly ball games and all that shit.
Yeah, that's why.
It's just amazing that.
That's why I can't with the women. I can't ever. I tried to date women. I've been I've dated some women over the years, and every time I get to talking to them, they talk all the stuff they talk about is so silly and stupid. The stuff they're interested in.
That's right. That's exactly right.
I start talking about the Kennedy assassination. They start looking for the door. You know what I mean?
That's exactly right.
They're just like,
look at you. You just need to understand that women are not interested in anything that makes any sense. Their whole world is based on fucking stupidity and ignorance. All they're looking for is security and some money. That's it. They don't give a shit one about what's going on in the world. They can't read. They don't give a shit. And like I always say, they don't read shit. They don't study shit. They don't question shit. The best part, they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
So just understand that about women. They don't give a shit about any of it.
Yeah,
if you're gonna act like, if you're gonna start talking intelligently, then you're not gonna be able to. Women are gonna be running from you.
Yeah, that's what I've seen. It's almost like the stupider you are, the more women you get.
That's it. If you wear your baseball cap backwards and got broken teeth, and earrings in your nose, and nose rings in the ears, and your brain dead and broke and have nothing, the women will love you.
Yeah. Yeah. Then
if you act like you've got a brain, they're gonna run from you.
And Jordan, as you said, they think they're going to college to graduate, but graduate means gradually indoctrinate, right?
That's it. That's where the word comes from. Gradual indoctrinate.
Yeah, like that cap. That graduation cap, that's like the mortar board from the Vatican.
That's right. The black mortar board is the black square. It's called the Saturnian black square.
Yeah. Like I was saying, I remember you teaching like the Hanseatic League or whoever these guys are. They set up the degree program, the bachelor's, the master's.
That's exactly right. They sure did.
So it's like people are born in society, and they're given a language. They're told to go to college. They go through all this stuff, and they don't even know what it is they're going through.
They have no idea what they're doing. All they're doing, like one teacher told me a long time ago, all you're doing when you're going to college is getting a work permit. That's it. You just get a work permit so you can go get a job. That's it. You're not learning nothing. I ain't teaching you nothing. They're just teaching you just enough so you can go out and get a job. That's it. Pay your taxes and go have a beer, watch a ball game.
And it all leads, and I've seen it over the years. It all leads straight back to the powers in the Vatican. I
know. That's where it all goes back to because the way the corporation called the United States Corporation, who owns your body on the stock market, that corporation called United States Corporation is a subsidiary corporation of a British corporation. And the British corporation is a subsidiary of the Vatican Corporation.
Yep.
Because you've got to remember that for 2,300 years, Rome has ruled Europe. First of all, under the Caesars in the ancient Roman Empire, and then with the fall of Rome in the 5th century comes the Vatican, and the Vatican picks up where Caesar left off, and it controls the Europe in Rome. So for 2,300 years, Rome has ruled Europe. That's why they say all roads lead to Rome.
Well, that's why I see the Nation of Islam, that Farrakhan guy. I can't believe how idiotic the people are who actually go to this man for spiritual advice, because every time I see him, he's in a picture with a Jesuit priest. He he has a picture. Yeah. He has pictures of Farrakhan, right? He has pictures of L. Ron Hubbard hung up all around his house and stuff. He has these pictures of L. Ron Hubbard of Scientology hung up, and he got these people. He got these people following him, thinking he's this great spiritual leader. And on one angle, he's talking about the white man's the devil, but on the other angle, he got pictures of L. Ron Hubbard hung up. He's hanging out with Jesuit priest. So
and Elijah Muhammad was the great prophet Elijah Muhammad. Well, yeah. Elijah Muhammad was a student
of a Jewish guy, right?
Of a teacher that taught him.
Was it a Jewish guy? Something Ford?
That's
or something?
right. It was a Jewish guy. His name was and in the movie Malcolm X. It actually had it in the movie, a picture of the Jewish guy in one of the temples.
Yeah, yeah. I think I remember seeing it. It was a Jewish guy, and they don't even know where he came from. He just showed up in
No,
Detroit. Yeah, he just showed up one day. Yeah.
And then he gets a student who later on calls himself Elijah Muhammad. And Elijah Muhammad is a great prophet, but he forgot to tell everybody. No, I learned all this shit from a white guy, from some Jewish guy taught me all this. And then Farrakhan comes along and learns it all from Elijah Muhammad, and the whole thing can be traced back to a white Jewish guy.
Well, that's why I think Malcolm X might have ended up dead. I think he started figuring stuff.
I think that's exactly why.
He started figuring stuff out, and then he wasn't afraid to say that this is wrong. What we're being taught, and then he ended up dead.
That's right.
Not that.
Then they figured this kid's waking up, so we got to put him back to sleep permanently.
Yeah. And I've seen it with the Jewish people. I'm not anti-Semitic by any means, but Jordan, I've seen where the Jewish people were working with the Nazis.
Well, of course they were. Of course they were.
I've seen pictures of Mengele, and there was Jewish people there working with them at the laboratories.
Of course they were
in Auschwitz.
No, there's all kinds of. Have you ever heard of? Dave Emery?
Yeah,
never heard of Dave?
Yeah, I've heard. He's in the research stuff, right?
Yep, but heavy into that. Well, he's got maybe 200 or 300 radio shows out there on the web. So go on the web and find Dave, D-A-V-E, Emery, E-M-O-R-Y, Dave Emery. And listen to him talking about the Jewish connection to Nazism. The Nazis were being financed. Who was financing Hitler?
Yeah,
the Ashkenazi Jews.
Yeah,
and it's called Ashka, and it's spelled N-A-Z-I, Ashkenazi.
Right, and a lot of their symbolism and stuff. The Ashkenazi Jews, I noticed they were Druidic in nature a little bit.
That's right, and they were also into blood, the purity of the blood. The Jews wanted to keep their blood pure. Well, that's what the Nazis were saying: keep their blood pure.
That's what I couldn't understand in Jonestown. When I saw that footage, I knew these guys. These were German Vatican ratline guys. But then I saw Mark Lane, who I think Mark Lane's Jewish as far as I know, and I saw Mark Lane.
Yes.
I saw Mark Lane there with other Jewish people, like Soviet type Jews. And there was the British there, and then there was blacks there, and they were all working together and they basically killed all these people in the People's Temple. Got rid of all the people. It was all these people working together to do wrong.
I know.
That's
right. Yeah.
And I couldn't understand it. I said, why are Nazis and Jewish people and British people and black people? All these people are working together to hurt people who don't even want to hurt nobody else.
Yeah, no, there's a reason, because it was an experiment.
Yeah,
they were experimenting on MK Ultra was doing a lot of experiments on people to see what they could do with human minds. So that was an experiment.
Yeah, I even heard that Mengele was working in California, at that Mendocino Mental Health Hospital.
Yeah, I wouldn't be a bit surprised.
They said Mengele. Yeah, they said Mengele was up in California, during the 60s, in working in the prisons and working in the mental wards, and that goes back to these zebra killers, Jordan. They call themselves death angels, and Manson, he called his group, death angels, and I thought about it. Mengele's name is Angel of Death.
That's right.
And it's like maybe that he put
that was his term.
He put that in there because that was his work. He was putting his stamp on his work, so to speak.
Yep. And like I said, I'm going to send you a whole shitload of people I want you to become familiar with their work and listen to them. Huge amounts of audio out there, and download it. Each one of these people, I send you a link to their work. Download everything they're doing. Listen to them, because these people have got all that information nailed down, and you'll see what I mean.
Okay.
There's a lot of information out there on what you're talking about.
Okay, it sounds good, Jordan. You know, we've been talking for a while. Why don't we just...
look, I'm gonna call you back. I'm gonna call you back maybe tomorrow night.
Okay.
And if not tomorrow night, Monday night, let's talk again. I'll call you back, and we'll talk next week too.
Okay, that sounds beautiful.
I'm in no hurry to leave. So I'll leave now, but I'll call you back and we'll talk Sunday night, and then maybe we'll talk Monday and Tuesday night too.
Oh,
I'll give you a call. We can talk.
That sounds wonderful, Jordan.
Okay, now I'm going to send you a lot of stuff tomorrow, and then next time we talk, at least you will have seen all of the stuff I'm going to send you.
Okay, that's great. You know, and I'm going to definitely look at it and research it. Then when we talk again, I'll be able to go over some of it with you that I learned.
Exactly. Okay, and look for Dave Emery on the web, because hundreds of his radio shows. But get his lectures. All of them are sensational. His radio shows. They're all half-hour apiece. Some of them are lectures that go. Some of them are lectures that go for 2 hours, but most of them are all radio shows.
Yeah,
but he is very big on connecting the Jonestown and the Nazi movement in Europe to Jonestown, who was financing Jones. There's a lot of stuff there, and I'll send you. Like I said, I'm going to send you a huge email with all that stuff on it, and then we'll talk again.
Okay, it sounds great. I'm gonna Google him, YouTube him tonight, and listen to some of his stuff, and then I'll look at that stuff, and you send it to me, and then we can just go back over it next time we talk.
Let's do it. No problem.
Okay, well, Jordan, I'm very appreciative to be able to talk to you, and I love.
I appreciate you wanting to talk to me, and I'll be talking to you. We'll talk. We'll talk plenty times. Sunday night, Monday, or Tuesday.
Okay, it sounds great.
No problem at all.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Jordan. You take care, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.